17, Jason Sears. Forward, number 91, Brown. Forward, number 19, Amy Rivera. Forward, number 7, Joel Margarita. And forward, number 9, Iksan Sako. Head coach for Phoenix is Hodu Hawk.
It's my absolute privilege to award 31st franchise in the USL.
Your captain, defender number 21, Alex Cronelli. In goal number 1, Richard Sanchez. Defender number 5, Alexi Suwahi. Defender number 94, Jimmy Vedranda. Midfielder number 34.
If the madness of March is for Cinderellas, then April is for the Blue Bloods. So it is in the USL Championship, a month into the 9-month chase for the one shining moment, the star that defines legacy. These clubs have earned their place in the constellation. Wins the USL Championship. This season, Phoenix, a return to their high-flying ways. San Antonio, the league's last vestige of perfection. Two of the USL's top contenders on the marquee. Phoenix rise against San Antonio FC on CDS. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Center of the American sporting universe this weekend. San Antonio FC welcome Phoenix Rising. Two of the last 3 champions of the USL Championship. The double, regular season and postseason glory in 22 for San Antonio. Phoenix, the lowest seed to ever hoist the trophy in 2023. And good afternoon, everyone. Joined by Devin Kerr and Marion Crowder on the sideline. Mike Watts on hand. And Devin, these two sides very familiar with a spotlight like this.
The success certainly hasn't been an issue for either of the two. Trophies are what are most important, but in the modern game, statistics are really what breed true authenticity. And so when you look at the major categories that everybody measures success by, top 5 and all for both of these teams. Now that's over the last half decade. These are new regimes that we're seeing in year 6 moving into 2025. New coaches, new faces. Success has not been a problem early on for this San Antonio FC team. The only team in the league that has a perfect record so far. Defensively, shored up everything, near perfect on the back line, but going forward, actually, they feel like they've struggled a little bit, and they want more out of their golden playmaker from 2 years ago in Jorge Hernandez to be on the ball and dictate their flow going forward. The other side of the coin is a very different conversation for Phoenix Rising, who have struggled out of the gate on the defensive front. But on the attacking side, this young man, Remy Cabral, he won the Golden Boot 24 months ago, and they feel like the rhythm that he's established within this attacking group has finally started to bear fruit. Familiarity struggling with some of their roster and injuries. Consistency in the 9 is not an issue for Remy Cabral.
So Cabral and Phoenix will need to be nearly perfect if they're to unseat the final perfect team in the championship. A month in the rear view, the biggest game of the season yet. is next on CBS. The visiting locker room at Toyota Field in San Antonio, Phoenix Rising, preparing to try and knock off the lone remaining perfect team in the championship. Meanwhile, San Antonio FC prepares for battle. 4-0-0, a magnificent start to the season. Here it is, beautiful Toyota Field in San Antonio on CBS. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr, let's take a look at the Phoenix starting lineup. No Saint, no Boy due to red card suspension. Couple players out for coach's decision too.
They've struggled with results on the back line just due to familiarity, Mike, with all of those injuries and haven't been able to get any tempo going. That brings Colin Smith back to the inside, an 18-year-old at center back next to him. And JP Skier is trying to control all of this within the midfield six. Now, the real question is going to be with Isan Seko and Damian Rivera. They can bounce off of each other. All of this, though, is about transitional movements, trying to find better ball distribution into the box to Remy Cabral. The perfect team in USL Championship, 4 up, 4 down, is going to lose their captain. Mitchell Tainer came out early last game against Lexington. Alexi Suwahi comes in. Now, that's precautionary, but flexibility is what they have in a lot of this system that sees them, overlaps, committing both of their attacking defenders on the outside, getting high into the line. This front line, although they have been perfect, has left a lot to be desired. That rests on the responsibility of Jorge Hernandez in the midfield 10.
More on Tainter's absence with Marion Crowder. Marion.
Well, every San Antonio FC fan held their breath as they watched Mitch Tainer leave the pitch early last weekend. He did not train at all this week, and he's not available for selection this afternoon, but we can confirm that is just precautionary. Mitch is expected to make a full return to the training regimen on Tuesday and start to the returning 11 versus Miami next weekend. Now, the only thing making this easier for Mitch to digest is his partnership with fellow center back Alex Crognali, stating just 4 games in, it's a partnership where you have no doubts about the guy who's next to you.
Thank you, Marion Crognali, coming in from Birmingham over the offseason. Carried out his beautiful daughter, Elliot Rose Crognali, pregame. It was a tough decision for him to make the move, but said the warm welcome that Mitch provided him certainly made him very comfortable with the move to San Antonio at this stage of his career. Well, everyone's talking about the USL right now, looking for Division I sanctioning. The idea of promotion relegation finally coming to soccer in the United States. We'll talk about all of it throughout the show, but this is the show you pay to see. San Antonio is perfect. They welcome Phoenix Rising, and we are underway on CBS. Crognale lays back. Richard Sanchez, 30-year-old goalkeeper. The crazy part about how good San Antonio's been, Devin, whether it's the players, the coaches, I think you watching, they haven't hit their stride yet either.
No, nowhere near it, and specifically up top, which is quite scary for a team that's tied for second in goals in the entire league. But it speaks to the testament of what has been an absolute masterclass on the defensive front. How do you adjust? Lexi Swahi coming in, Mitchell Tainer out. Tainer's so good at the long balls that you just saw coming off of Crognale, but I am looking at up top at the 9. You know, Carlos Llamosa talked about wanting to see more out of Jorge Hernandez in the 10. They have so much rotation in the interior of the field. Still think they're lacking consistent representation up top there, and Agudelo getting the opportunity. Big opportunity for him.
Soto. Soto swarmed by Sacco. Rolled down the line for LaCava. And overtaken. Zamil Cuejo. Good to see him back in the 11. All he did for Phoenix en route to the 2023 title was score 2 game-winning goals in that playoff run. Then over the top, beyond Sacco. Madronda, what a goal he scored last week from 2 goals down against Lexington. Epic curler that helped San Antonio back into the game. They would ultimately win that game 3-2.
Only to be surpassed by the absolute rocket that shattered this stadium in training yesterday. Oh my God. Could hear a pin drop after his strike on the set piece in the corner.
We were talking to Carlos Llamosa, the San Antonio head coach. He said, when I was an assistant at Portland, he did that to us with Seattle. So he was well aware that that was in his bag coming in.
But down 2-0, they got it 2-1, and Llamosa let one fly. They lost 6-2.
Yeah, that's right. Hawkinson helps to knock it down. Rolled through by Hernandez. There's Madronda. Spins across the face. Osorio tracking it down. Osorio getting end line, and this does run away from Juan Osorio, the son of the Tijuana manager, Juan Carlos Osorio, who used to play alongside Carlos Llamosa in Flushing Meadows Park in the early 1990s, Sunday League soccer, although it wasn't the connection to Osorio's father that actually brought him in. Osorio, after he left Portland, wound up spending 8 months in Colombia and actually went to 4 or 5 games that Juan Sebastian played there, captaining a side 10 minutes away from his now manager's apartment. Had no idea the two would become connected again, and yet gets the chance to start here just 5 games into that tenure. There is Llamosa, former U.S. international, 55-year-old Colombian-born defender. Came to the United States in 1991 and initially worked in maintenance at the World Trade Center. Landed with the New York Centaurs of the A-League and ultimately into MLS when it came into play some 5 years later. There were a lot of laughs, a lot of smiles with Carlos Llamosa yesterday. Ball lobbed over the top for Cabral and checked up awkwardly on the grass. Swahi clears.
He certainly had no problem reminiscing about the golden days, did he?
You grew up in South Florida. You started going over some old rosters, and it was like you two were connected.
His 2001 squad for Miami Fusion. I was a ball boy for the 2 years prior. Apparently, I missed the best time, right?
Yeah.
And the names that littered American soccer history with Carlos Llamosa and how good they were. He's now trying to translate that to a very different style for this San Antonio FC team that 2 years, 2022, excuse me. Won the West regular season and then USL Championship title. Hard hitting, more transitional, high press over and over again, kind of a next man up, do your job type mentality. This is a very different style. They want to be on the ball, control the possession of battle, strengthen numbers, shift you on the field, and quickly spring when the moment presents itself. It takes time. And also understanding that within that, I think it's easy to think about the change, Mike, and go, oh, 2022 is not that long ago. Well, there are only 3 players on that roster, one of which was a loanee remaining within this group. So a very different conversation looking at the identity overall.
Alan Marcina relieved of his duties after falling 3 points short of the playoffs last year. The last team in, Phoenix Rising. Madronda navigates forward. Didn't have the support coming up the right-hand side. San Antonio was the hardest pressing team maybe in all of American soccer in that 2022 season. But Marco Ferruzzi comes in as the sporting director. Last year they tried to tinker with the formula, didn't quite work out, a number of injuries as well. And everyone here in San Antonio speaks so highly of what Alan Marcina brought, the mentality monster concept that enveloped the club for a number of years, and he said he certainly did leave a legacy. Back by Margarita. Sacco navigates away. Tough slide by Agudelo. Advantage played by Greg Dobka. Options galore around the outside, driving end line and slicing off of Sanchez and out for a corner. First really decent look for Phoenix, and meanwhile it is Sacco down at the halfway line.
He knew this was coming too. Ball got away from him, to be fair, as the touch was a little bit heavy, and one of the things that they're gonna have to struggle with is when he pushes himself up high, trying to close the space down in. That's what he's trying to do, and on the follow through, the ankle just, caught up underneath. Agudelo on the tackle coming through. There's a touch of the ball, but really well done. If anything, a cut to the inside a bit sooner holds that run to allow your winger to get higher, but really good job by Rivera, keeping himself in an onside position. But recovery defending, as we talk about this group for San Antonio, one of the biggest assets that they carry. Yes, it is certainly a decent save on the near post, but more importantly, the support that you had tracking back to eliminate that square ball back at the top of the 6. Well done by both.
So a corner for Gerald Margarita, who arrived in August. Curaçao International puts that in a dangerous spot. Comes high for Harvey Neville. Blasted and deflected. And an injured player, a potential head injury, and so they'll always stop play for that, rightfully so. Greg Dobka waves on the San Antonio athletic trainer. Soto struggles back to his feet. All the while, Devin, Sacco's back up. That's good news. There's Pamadou Ka, first season at the helm, was in Charlotte the last couple of years. And this lineup, the red cards to Saint and Pop Marboy certainly make it more difficult, but this is a group that had to really rearrange a lot over the past few days.
I would say that, look, they're already trying to establish a new identity under Pamadou Ka, and within that, you know, whether it's rules, regulations, playing style, certainly accountability, something that you have to take a look at. A new coach comes in, you want to plant your pillars of success, and you have to stay consistent within that conversation. And so that's an in-house deal, a manager's decision to remove those 2 players from the starting lineup. I think you have to applaud him, though, that whatever went on behind the scenes, number one, they're keeping it to themselves. They want to work through it privately. I respect that. Number 2 is you're willing to say, regardless of circumstance, accountability is very important here. That speaks to the character of the coach and certainly the representation that he's trying to give to his players on how they are going to find success moving forward, even if it means they're going to have to work through some troubled times right now.
Notably, Traore and Avievu are available off the bench in this game, although in terms of injuries, it is one of the scariest lists you'll ever find, because you're talking 4, 5, 6, including the 2 red cards that were suffered last week in the defeat at Monterey Bay. Starters in this team most days. Lob long for LaCava. Nods it forward, looks to send across. Merely a goal kick. You can catch more USL action as Birmingham Legion takes on El Paso Locomotive Sunday at 5 Eastern over on CBS Sports Network. It's our first of about 35 games between the Championship and League One that'll air on CBS Sports and ESPN networks over the course of this 2025 season.
Wilmer Cabrera's got El Paso Locomotive full steam ahead. 2025, just 1 loss through 5. Birmingham Legion trying to get themselves back on track. I'm sure they would love to have Alex Crognali, center back for San Antonio FC, on the Western Conference. That's good pressure.
Sawahi went down, and this is a 3rd injury in the first 12 minutes, unfortunately. And not a position that San Antonio has much depth in right now, with Mitchell Tainer out due to a leg injury suffered last week. He should be okay to face Miami next weekend, but Sawahi is his replacement.
Felt like it was studs up coming back through. Good pressure provided by Remy Cabral, but right there, absolutely. A little bit surprised that you're seeing the follow through there as high as it was, and certainly brandishing the studs. The referee does not pull a yellow.
Header got away from Colin Smith. Corner for San Antonio. Jorge Hernandez, the 3-time first-team All-League midfielder, to take the corner. Tristan Henry is in goal, his first year in Phoenix. Hernandez offers. Set pieces, a couple of blemishes last week against Monterey Bay for Phoenix. More creative set pieces than anything were their undoing. Ron kept in end line, snagged by Henry, who's played games at Olympia, Motagua, and Kai, and Cruz Azul. Big clubs in CONCACAF during his 5-year stint at Forge FC, the Canadian Premiership. Neville. Henry, heavy touch. LaCava was chasing. Snuck over top of Osorio, but spared his blushes.
Go back a bit.
Kolasimo staying true to has been the identity of this team attacking wise early on in 2025, allowing Jorge Hernandez to play very high, to me, to a fault at times. He talks about wanting him to be on the ball more, and well, you can recognize the free reign you're given. There's a decent amount of space that has been available within some of these games that he's got to do a better job in terms of timing, dropping down into. What Phoenix has done here is Isan Saka has bumped himself up. They'll basically flatten out the midfield. That creates a 1-for-1 in the holding midfielder position with the 8s. Hernandez has to recognize that. This is a good look where if he drops into that center circle, you go 3v2. Man advantage, Mike. Simple mathematics that allow you to create a solid advantage moving forward. That's just communication, recognizing the space, and then acting when it steps itself out.
Curious that you're lecturing about simple mathematics.
Geometry, mathematics, you know.
Yeah. Run by Neville.
Mom's probably at home really proud of the report card from, elementary school that's showing up now.
Yep.
I'm sure Pat has it too.
Yeah.
I know Cheryl does.
Neville throws in. Son of the Timbers manager, Phil Neville, England legend. Madronda was able to sneak that through. Margarita got in the way. Madronda still there. Hernandez pulls his boots off the chalk and left that back where Cabral could siphon it off. Sacco sees Margarita, pulls up, tried to angle out. Neville provides width. Margarita continues. Here's Neville now. Swept in, bounces out. Long from Hawkinson. Juan Agudelo, the former U.S. international, bounces onto the ball and slips ahead. Hernandez. Wrong-sided Agudelo steps in front of Neville. Contact galore atop the 18. Hernandez stops the globe spinning. Madronda. Hawkinson chasing. Neville. About 65 degrees at kickoff. The wind is blowing directly left to right. It's about 95 degrees here when we landed on Thursday.
I don't think they'll be complaining. It's going to be 120 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. This is maybe the last jacket weather game that remains on the San Antonio slate.
I will say, you and I have taken a fair bit of heat for showing up with Mother Nature in our back pocket on the cold side again. Seems like every time you guys come here, it's cold, we were told. I counteroffer. Every time we come here, you guys win a trophy.
That's
We've
right.
only been here once before.
Cava providing pressure. Hernandez jumps in. Swept away from LaCava. Cuejo went down. And contact from behind. Hernandez hits the perfectly manicured new Bermuda grass they laid in over the offseason. Part of $1 million of renovations on Toyota Field. Soto. We were talking to Alex Cronali. He goes, in the Eastern Conference, depending on what team you're on, you may be playing 10, 11 games a year on grass. Getting guaranteed 15 regular season and some Jägermeister Cup games on this surface is not something to complain about.
Most of any player at any position on the field want to be on grass, to be fair. Alex Cronali, certainly the amount that he's seen in his professional career. He'll be 31 this fall, as will his center back partner normally is Mitchell Tainer. And you know, the frequency of games, that 226 since 2019. Gives you an idea that I want to keep that body a bit healthier. That's a ball.
Hawkinson across. Agudelo, it's narrowly high. Skips out the backside, and that'll be a goal kick. The USL proud to welcome Best Western Hotels and Resorts as its official hotel partner. You'll see Best Western all season long on USL matches on CBS. Given all the chop and change, 20 minutes in, Phoenix Rising, are you satisfied where you're at?
You're very happy. You know, the one thing that you're going to be nitpicky right now if you're Pamudu Kai is some of the decision making with the ball coming off the back line. A lot of it going long. trying to find a way to kind of hit that reset valve, right? They need to trust what is a very clean team on the ball normally. So picking up those passages you've had to chase for a long period of time, Mike, positionally, provide support, you know, give yourself an outlet to help move off of this back line a bit more efficiently. Instead, what they're doing is they're working really hard defensively, picking it back up, and then going long. San Antonio saying, no problem, we'll take it at our halfway line and then get back to business. That just goes back to what's plagued them in their first couple of matches where, to be fair, they really haven't been outplayed. It's been more about lackluster decision-making, letdowns emotionally in certain moments that have gotten in the way, not a team playing them off the park.
Devin, to add to your point, the direction from the coaching staff on the Phoenix Rising sideline has actually been specific to Noble Okello. Feels like he's not showing support angles well enough to get the ball off of his back line quick enough, forcing them to only have that vertical choice.
A similar link-up play for what we talk about with Hernandez and San Antonio coming down into that pocket. You have to be willing to commit, and if you're Noble Okello, you're comfortable. Back to goal, the Ontario native, who has certainly seen his fair share coming over from Atlanta United 2 team, Revolution before that, and all that's about, again, is there's a lot in front of him as he's facing his own back line, where Colin Smith's dropped back to the inside, and although Harvey Neville is now on his preferred right-hand side, he's been primarily utilized on the left. We've got an 18-year-old paired next to Colin Smith, and then Cuejo coming back from injury. Difficult to understand the tendencies with a group that's never been paired together in the starting rotation.
Well, he's a long ball off the mark. Speaking of pairings, they've never been together. Montgomery and Smith. Tell me you expected to see that 5 games into the season if you're Phoenix. That's an 18-year-old academy product in Montgomery, and Smith, most definitely an outside back. Cava lays off, away from Soto. Short of Madronda, Neville will provide a shield back to Henry.
As a matter of fact, I had it as my 4th round upset on my bracket.
Sure you did. We all say our brackets are better than they were.
Mine was great until last night.
Yeah, that's true enough. To be fair, until the last couple seconds, a lot of brackets looked pretty decent. You turned on the local news here last night, and there were a lot of Houston fans really reveling in what happened in the Final Four against Duke last night. Madronda, Hernandez. Stripped. Did that stay in? No, apparently it didn't. Swahi and Margarita not living up to the Jimmy Buffett standard. Margarita gets this ahead. Sacco. Okello spots the run. Soars up, stays with Rivera. Spare a penny for Rivera's thoughts. First signing of the offseason for Phoenix. Allowed 10 goals. That is second most in the league, behind only Oakland, who've played one more game than they have and have conceded 12. It's meeting 16. It's never finished 0-0. Based on the numbers this year, it doesn't look like today is going to be the case either. Big diagonal, Margarita. Sanchez was outside the penalty area, so had to take that with his head. Isan Sacco, excellent ball. Here's Margarita. Slices back, thought Sacco was joining in. Smith. Henry chipping out beyond Emil Cuello, former San Antonio player.
And if that ball right there doesn't fully encapsulate what has been the opening couple of matches for Phoenix, I don't know what does. It's plenty of time, space, just can't find the link up. Again, what they've experienced the first couple of games is early letdowns. That hasn't been the case so far. Certainly haven't given up any real sort of opportunity on the goalkeeper.
Oh, brilliant work by Hernandez to open this up. LaCava. That's blocked. Okello came back. A little give and go that led to that diagonal was really sweet stuff. The former Golden Playmaker, the former assist champion is another way to say it.
Just look at the pocket right now, though. There's just one on the inside. Ton of space up top. That's what you're looking for.
Osorio, that took a deflection, angles into the stands for a corner.
A timing thing. This is where when we talk about kind of the evolution that needs to be for San Antonio, great job isolating the back line. They flatten them out a little bit. That creates more space because they've constricted him into a tighter spot. That's on the recognition. Depending on who's out there, of the midfielder, if he comes narrow, now you've got the overlapping run. That's a clean shout, ball on the deck to allow you to get up in high and provide service in. Much better recognition by San Antonio.
Crognali, couple goals last year, 11 in 5 seasons in Birmingham, 6'5". Giant of a center back, 21 in white, keep your eye. Hernandez over sends this high, Madronda! We saw that work yesterday, comes all wrong. That is the wrong man to leave alone. Appeal for a handball, Greg Dopka says no. There is no VAR in the championship. Oh, if Madronda hit that sweet, watch out. Sanchez trying to stretch again, Henry. Neville. Margarita looks over his shoulder as Cabral running centrally.
Good defending.
Madronda.
It's probably the one area that, if you're looking to consistently try and exploit the San Antonio back line, it's their aggression on the outside backs to get involved in the attack and those overlaps I just referenced. So if it's Jimmy Madronda or Juan Osorio, they're willing to come high, but also as good as they go, quickly coming back the other way. Just excellent timing. Notice his disposition coming up out of the tackle, calm. Something that has been very well provided for this team with all the new faces, new playing style, new coach. Again, just a 10th time in USL Championship history that we've seen a team go perfect through 4 matches. Little trivia for you, Mike. Do you have any idea how many went 5-0?
I don't.
5.
Oh. Well, I know only 3 occasions 4-0 came under a first-year manager with the club. I know the record is 6. Richmond and Rochester have done the job. Cabral got tugged down.
It's interesting on the far side for Phoenix for Damian Rivera. As interchangeable as he could be. We saw that a lot in his time on loan with the Tampa Bay Rowdies last year. He hasn't really tried to work himself underneath. A little bit of that is the fear of what Juan Osorio and Jake LaCava could do in tandem. Also Jorge Hernandez working off the back line. So Cuello has stayed a little bit more reserved on the defensive front. He stayed out wide. That's got to mean that someone else easily could be Okello or Sacco could drop down into that. So it's become a bit predictable. Everything on the outside, A to B. Mixing it up is where they're going to find success against the San Antonio team.
Dutchman, Margarita on the left, Cuello on the right from Buenos Aires. Launched away from Okello. Oh no. Disaster in the tunnel. Those nachos? Oh, what a waste. Phoenix continues, half an hour gone, looking for their first win, their first lead of the year. Margarita had an option in Neville. Margarita slides back in. Here is Neville. Born in Manchester, as you'd imagine, came to the States when his dad was the head coach at Inter Miami. Said he really found his joy, his love for the game again on loan at Loudoun United. His first chance to really spread his wings since coming to the U.S. Touching through, Cuejo, the cross up, speared away, Neville after it. Swooping in Smith, Neville, service. Neville crossing, ball knocked down, nothing more. And that's a foul from Agudelo. Really good couple of minutes of play from Phoenix Rising. Agudelo steps right in. That was taken a bit too quickly. Now Agudelo's won it the other way. Oh, Margarita trying to do well. I'm sure there's frustration he may well have for teammates. Doesn't get too close to the ref. Here are the fouls.
There goes your souvenir jersey after the game.
Oh no. These Charlie kits are nice, but I don't know anything could have withstood that kind of attack.
I love the color scheme.
Yeah.
San Antonio.
This organization, part of the larger Spurs Sports and Entertainment organization, so it harkens back to the old San Antonio Spurs look. Which I think I can say we both endorse. LaCava through for Agudelo. Montgomery came for the ball. Scoreless 32.5 minutes in. San Antonio without their captain, Mitch Tainer, due to injury. Should be back next week, but this week joins Marion down on the field. Marion.
Mitch, your team is on a perfect 4-0 start. What's been the catalyst for your team's early success?
Yeah, I think everyone who's here wants to be here. We've shown that so far, and everyone's really bought in. So I think when you have a good locker room, good team, good mentality, it's a recipe for success.
It's the 10th anniversary for San Antonio FC. Reflect on your time and your journey here, because you've been a part of some special moments. Yeah,
this is year 6 for me. You know, when I arrived, I knew this was a championship organization. I'm really happy to play with some amazing players, meet some amazing people, and ultimately help put the star above the crest. And now it's we're on a mission for number 2.
All right, quick thoughts. First 30 minutes, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. The crowd's been amazing. Not much to the game so far, but I think we've been getting in some good spots, and hopefully we can capitalize on those opportunities.
Well, hey, thanks for your time. We'd be remiss if we didn't get a shot of your boots, though. I mean, look at those things that he brought out there. Thank you, Mitch. Enjoy the game.
It is the first thing you saw Devin when he walked onto the field pregame. Those boots. Marion's not exactly aloof with her boot game either.
And normally we're reveling at his capability in boots on the field, and certainly showed up today. By the way, not just Mitch Tainer. I would say that the entire front office, assistant sporting director Preston Petrie, he's got a nice repertoire himself. Rumor is boots on Mitch Tainer's feet may have come from assistant sporting director.
Wow.
It's about trust, Mike, on and off the field.
Here's Rivera.
We'll get there.
Overtaken. I left my Ariats at home. I'm devastated. This will be a corner for Phoenix. As opposed to the very dapper looking Hamadou Ka. Terrell Margarita to take a short corner. Cuejo.
those little touches that we were talking about 15 minutes ago, where Amadou Ka wanted Novo Okello to drop down and provide some options coming off the back line. It's kind of the same type of situation that you're going to deal with, Mike. Always going to have a runner over the shoulder, trusting the players in front of you. Still haven't really seen any sort of aggression from either he or JP Skeers. Now, Skeers defensively certainly has to lock down a bit more space, but they've gone very flat off of each other, still resorting to the long balls up over the top, and I'm still really surprised that Damian Rivera has not tried to attack some of the space underneath. Kind of argument would be is it's still available out wide, but when they're not playing to you, sometimes you want to go and find the game, and that hasn't been the case so far.
Bounced off of Skeers. And the clearance only as far as Cuejo. Ooh. Thankfully, everyone's up from that. We've seen that go a much more negative direction. Two players with 2 feet in unison. Back to Neville. RV spent part of last year at Timbers 2, wanted to raise his level, so he goes to Sacramento, said he really enjoyed the 10 games he had there playing for Mark Briggs. And made the decision to come to Phoenix. No loans, that was just the right place for him at the right time. And I appreciate what he said. He said, Harvey, I got the call from Amadou Ka through my agent when I was on vacation. I sat down as soon as I got back, and he knew my strengths. He knew how to get the best of me, and he wanted me. Makes all the difference in the world. That's the first card issued in this game. It's going to go to Okello.
He knew he just caught out. As good as they've been next to each other, he and JP Skeers just much too high. Beautiful little step through by Lucio Barón. And to your point about Harvey Neville, one, he needs games, right? Consistency of games to allow himself to continue his development. Two, he needs the trust, and I think that's something that he's really struggled with over the past 2 years. Not his fault, but really in about 24 months' time, starter for Inter Miami, loaned to Loudoun, Portland Timbers 2 in MLS Next Pro, the Mark Briggs stop in Sacramento Republic. I'm dizzy even just talking about it. Now a chance here in Phoenix Rising. More importantly, the opportunity today that with injuries and issues come adversity. Adversity creates chances and opportunities for players. Colin Smith drops into center back. That's been who he's been up against at the right back spot. Harvey Neville deployed on the left because of the injury to Cuejo. He's done a really good job so far of keeping Hackinson basically null and void in this game. Right in front of his manager, good decisions going forward. That's something that when you're Amadou Ka, you're looking forward. I gave him a chance. He's taken full advantage of it 39 minutes in.
And to be fair, I mentioned a manager who wanted him, and of course his dad did too, but anytime you can sort of get outside of that and see a different way, a different environment, he does really seem to be enjoying his time in Phoenix. By the way, the ball through to Cabral, quite clearly offside, the right call. Our near touchline official. Ball lobbed across, Neville, chests it back to Henry. He doesn't mind the sun either. He's going to get a lot of it. Approaching halftime, San Antonio perfect on the season. Champions in 2022 under new management, 4-0-0. Bounces all the way into Sanchez. Cabral tussles with him at the end.
I think the two of you should join forces for a Coppertone sponsorship.
There's not enough to save me if I go that route. Phoenix 0-2-2, but that honestly does them a pretty big disservice. Number of injuries, moreover, think you put it the right way. They've been played off the park by anybody. The results may not be right, but long year for Hawkinson. Ball checked up, Henry. Left the net empty en route, and Agudelo chasing, commits the foul. Henry goes to ensure that he and Hawkinson are on good terms.
It's really the first time that we've seen Luke Hawkinson get out of his comfort zone, coming on the diagonal. Well read. It just checks up a bit too much for his liking. That allows Tristan Henry to time this to perfection. Very aggressive from the goalkeeper, but well read.
Got a two-time champion behind him in Patrick Rakowski. He was the backup to Rocco Rios Novo in 23 here in Phoenix. Started for Orange County en route to the title in 2021. Slaloming through, ball ekes away from Baron. They had Hernandez running wide. Cuejo. Vera.
CBS tonight, Elton John and Brandi Carlile take the stage for an unforgettable night of electrifying live performances. An evening with Elton John and Brandi Carlile. CBS tonight after 60 minutes and streaming on Paramount+.
Talking about who can rock a pair of boots earlier, and no one's telling Elton John anything about fashion he doesn't know already. Has all of us beat, I know that. Although that's hard, I'm sure, for you to admit that.
I'm a little bit upset that you went that aggressive that fast for fashion choices.
I think we're all Elton John fans. Swahi sweeping back to Sanchez. Phoenix has conceded in the first half every game this year. So far, so good. Margarita plays in. Here's Cabral. Cabral! Cabral, that's blocked. Swahi fouled him all the way.
It certainly wasn't the best of balls coming back out, but good recovery by Alexi Swahi. The cut back across from Remy Cabral, recognizing that most of the flow was working to the near side of the field. Stalemate. Both sides, hasn't it?
Ripped across Madronda for Sanchez. Players for San Antonio were mentioning offhand yesterday, it's been really windy to start the season when they've played at home. They've been attacking in about a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind the entire first half directly in their face. You think there's any real difference there? It's not nearly strong enough. Thoughts on that in a moment, I guess. Hernandez. Cuejo. That bounces out.
The only area where I've really seen it affect them is the way that the ball's landing and it's checked up.
Right.
Some of the English has affected your trajectory and how you want to time it best to get on the end of it. Otherwise, they've done a really good job keeping the ball on the deck when they've played it up over the top, especially coming off the foot of Lexi Swahi, Alex Crognale. It's got good pace to it. No real issue there. If anything, trying to adjust to what would be the tailwind in the second half. Overall decision-making still lacking for them. Trying to find some more movement up to the midfield. It's there, and I think for both squads right now, what it's just come down to, Mike, is execution in the moment, where you've created separation, you've recovered defensively. You know, that 5-yard ball is there, but instead you're trying to hit the 30 and go for the big ball when you just take the simple step in front of you. When you have the chance to create that isolation and separation, instead of going long, you're going simplistic. So it's separating the good from the bad. That's going to create the real quality chances that really haven't been available for either team in the first half.
Flag goes up from Tom Felice. Coming up at halftime, the Morning Footy crew is in our Golazo studio to break down the debut of the USL's Division I Men's League. After the announcement a couple weeks ago, which followed that initial Division I announcement by the league about a month and a half ago, the supermajority passing a resolution to institute promotion relegation for the first time in American soccer. I'm sure Morning Footy crew will cover it all here at halftime on CBS. Matter of seconds remaining. Ball checks up nearing the end line, and that'll get out of play. And Greg Dopka will take us to halftime. So San Antonio certainly has their hands full here. One of 10 teams in league history to ever start with 4 wins from 4 games. A stalemate may be the best way to put it. Phoenix Rising has gone on the road, and they are up for the challenge. Plenty of physicality, half chances galore, but it is scoreless at halftime. The USL on CBS Sports is presented by Best Western. To the Golazo studio after this.
It's halftime in the USL Championship match between San Antonio FC and Phoenix Rising right here on CBS. Welcome into CBS Sports Golazo Network Studios. I'm Kelly Pagan, and I'm here with our morning footy crew, Nico Cantor and Tony Miola. There's big news from the league a few weeks ago, back with the announcement of a Division I men's league starting 2028. And perhaps the even bigger news is that the USL will adopt promotion and relegation. Here's a look at how USL will work under the new system. There will be 12 to 14 Division I teams, and that'll be a mix of current USL groups and new ownership groups. So this is how it will look. You will have the Division I, then you'll have Championship, and then League One. Nico, this is some news that I think you were pretty excited for. I mean, why is it time to have promotion relegation here in the U.S.?
Yeah, it's very important. Obviously, full disclosure, I am a co-owner of one of the teams in USL League One, so it's exciting news for teams like ours that are sitting in what would be the third division of a U.S. soccer pyramid that's independent from MLS, right? We all have to remember that this is a completely different entity to the MLS, and if there's a Division I within that group, you can aspire to climb the ranks. And Tone, I would imagine as a former player, you look at this and you see the opportunity for so many different markets to grow the game in their communities, to find new players, to sharpen their skill and perfect their craft in search of making it to the top flight within your own country.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You want an opportunity, right, to play at the highest level. And this can, if you think about a storybook tale, this could take a small community and move up the ranks, as Nico said. And we see this all around the world, right? There's very few countries that don't have it. I think what the USL had to do was separate themselves a little bit from Major League Soccer, because once you apply for Division I status, if you don't have a differentiator, then it looks the same, right? And now you're competing with each other. So I'm excited about it. I think there's been a craving for it in our country for quite some time now. And good on the USL for taking the lead here on this, what could be a really, really defining moment in our sport.
I mean, it really means that every single game will count, which makes it a lot more fun for the fans. And long-term, Nico, I mean, how does it really help long-term for soccer in America?
Yeah, it makes the stakes higher. And like you say, if every single game means more, there is no complacency to be had. You need to play for something. Whereas domestically, for so long, there were teams that were just complacent because at one point in the season, they weren't playing for anything. So if you could feel either that fire of relegation or the hope of promotion, maybe you can tap into something deeper inside of you as a footballer, and it'll make you grow.
All right, well, we have plenty of conversations about soccer in America, about soccer worldwide, 5 days a week here on the Golazo Network. Join us on Morning Footy on the Golazo Network starting at 8 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, as we cover every corner of the world of football. We'll send you back out to San Antonio after this short break.
Tomorrow, the road to the Final Four reaches its final destination. At 8 Eastern, we get you set for tip-off with Capital One Championship Central. And then at 8:30, it's Florida versus Houston for the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. That's all tomorrow on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. We are here in San Antonio, the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. San Antonio FC taking on Phoenix Rising. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr, let's take a look at our first half highlights.
One of the questions we had coming in was what the midfield dynamics were going to look like in the absence of Hope Abiyeva. Now, really good job here. Sacco drops down underneath. This is what Pat Moduka wanted more of. Nobo Kello quickly down into the final third. Rivera on the back post run trying to find it, but only 7 shots on target given up by this San Antonio defense all season long. That's best in the championship. A response 10 minutes later. Great ball up over the top, but what you're lacking here is timing and decision making. While certainly the ball comes back across, that's a near impossible opportunity for Agudelo to get on the end of. To the back post, Mike, the angle. That's where both of these teams have really struggled 25 yards and in to get their attacks going.
Scoreless at halftime inside the locker rooms about 10 miles from the Alamo Dome. Come on back. Second half next on CDS. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Live look at Toyota Field here in San Antonio. Let's take a look at our travel map, brought to you by Best Western.
Well, the idea of this attack exploding was all resting on the shoulders, at least according to Carlos Somoza, of Jorge Hernandez. Two key things to take away here. The good news is he started to drop a little bit deeper. The bad news is he was very timid in his action, so he wasn't aggressive enough to try and turn and take players on, Mike. Also, 84% passing accuracy on the season. That first half, he was 5 of 9, hovering right around 56%. So some jitters funneling over into that first half performance.
On to the second half we go. We spoke with Jorge yesterday, and he remembered fondly, I suppose, the days when he was with LA Galaxy 2, taking on these Phoenix teams when they were the most explosive team in American soccer. There was a point in time about 5 years ago they had the longest win streak in North American soccer history, which still stands, 20 consecutive games. We said Solomon Asante, who was the back-to-back MVP, Junior Flemings, Didier Drogba. There were some unbelievable players on this rising team, and this is the group that's intended to fill those shoes. This gets out over the line. Didier Drogba scored one of the best goals in league history against a Jorge Hernandez team about 7 years ago. A thunderbolt 35-yard rocket on a free kick, which I feel like I could still see clearly. Drogba still a minority owner in the rising group.
And on another goal, rumor has it the chemistry experience still taking place to find out what exactly was in the water.
Now that haunts me. That's very different. San Antonio getting forward right out of halftime. This takes a deflection and sends Henry scampering to try and collect, but he could not save it from the line. The corner. Wind is certainly picked up. The flags are straight out behind Henry in goal. Ball knocked across, header toward frame, lifted up along the line. Henry got a punch, cleared out. Madronda deflects down, turning back Cronali, and this will come all the way out. It's Braxton Montgomery, the 18-year-old, who is in the right place at the right time for Phoenix.
Perfect positioning, just over 5'9". They can't use his height to his advantage, especially in the absence of Patmar Boyd or Mo Traore, but just trusting exactly where you're supposed to be, right on the line. Tristan Henry probably would have gotten to it. Sound decision-making by the youngster back there. An old soul in a young man's body. His manager says, just calm, composed, no issues with the age right anywhere. He's good enough. And age is just a secondary factor.
Joined the academy at 12 years old, 18 now, committed to go to Northern Illinois. Views his education as a real priority and prefers to do it in person. So could he potentially see a pro deal? Maybe. But for the moment, still committed to go the collegiate route. That NIU program really strong. Another corner coming for San Antonio. Corner, Henry went for it. Nobody got it, and that's for the best if you're Phoenix. Let's go back to Montgomery for a moment. Sixth grader when he first arrived with the Phoenix Academy, captained the under-17s, Horizon High School. They saw him in one academy game, and Pamadou Ka said he must be in with the first team. 3 academy products available for Phoenix today, including Montgomery starting. 2025 USL Fall Pathway Classic is actually going to be here in San Antonio. It's the first USL Academy or youth event held outside the state of Florida since 2019. Unrestricted youth tournament hosted by a U.S. Soccer Professional League organization. Unique in the American soccer landscape. San Antonio's been quite well known over the years for getting academy products in. Roy Hernandez actually was saying, I went in as a 16-year-old as a pro at Galaxy, and it was so important how the professional players welcomed me into the second team and into training with the first team. What a difference it made. And this pathway is certainly open for all 24 championship clubs. See young players into the first team with regularity now. Here's Soto into a pocket. Hawkinson pirouettes down the line. Toronto running out of real estate, and that'll bang out for a corner. Or did it catch an arm? They say it's an arm, so no corner. We'll move about 10 yards closer. It'll be a free kick.
The arm certainly is away from the body. That natural motion just extending a bit further than Harvey Neville would have liked. Although someday someone can convince me as a defender, got to take care of the brother and how we're supposed to jump without our arms. Still a foul, but sure, you know.
IFAB keeps going back and forth on how they want that. Every year or two, we get a different way of describing it, to the point where I don't know anyone really knows at all.
Well, they made a change this year, though, that does benefit the player for sure. Certainly in terms of that idea of double jeopardy in and around the box, where if it hits the hand in the box, it's not the red anymore, that instead the yellow. Although positionally overall, away from the torso, still is going to get you into trouble.
Well, it's not a corner, but Hernandez about 10 yards up the line from it. 10 assists 2 years ago, 9 last year, looking for his first this season. And Crognale is making friends and influencing people. Him and Smith becoming better acquainted.
And this is an area where San Antonio historically have done very well for themselves on set pieces, certainly at the start of 2025, but the normal stunt, as I call it, that they run sees Mitchell Taintor come to the back post, allows Crognale to be the aggressor in the box.
To the top of the area, Madrona! Knocked away, Crognale back up, ball falls in front and soars above the bar. It was LaCava with the final chance. And Henry, the initial save, and ultimately above the bar in the end.
That's twice now they've tried to attack like this. Much easier for Madrona to hit this one as it's cleanly given to him on the deck. There is that ball back across that normally comes off of Taintor. Good job by Crognale to keep it alive, and then if you're LaCava, just rushes it. You know, he's really struggled to find success within the San Antonio attack at the start of the year. What happens, Mike, is in the moment, your emotion, the energy, it overrides what should be just a real clean strike, stepping through it. Instead, you rush your decision-making, your form starts to falter. That's why you see him pull back a little bit, and the ball comes up over the bar.
LaCava, bouncing ball in, Hernandez.
Ball muscled away from Okello. It's too much for Soto. Now launched for Remy Cabral. All the way down to Sanchez. Let's go down to Marion on the sideline. Marion. Well, we've got Cabral who's just gone down. Something went along. We'll get back to you in just a second, Marion. In the aftermath of Sanchez picking that ball up, Cabral went down.
Nothing there, and doesn't really seem to be enough to warrant a real issue for Cabral. Alexis Awahi just issuing a how do you do the visitor.
All right, Marion, let's try this again. What have you been hearing?
Well, I got to catch up with both coaching staffs, and Pamanuka actually was very pleased with the performance in the first half. Felt like they created the better of the chances, but he knows it's going to be a group effort to keep this kind of a performance going. And guys on the other side, Carlos Llamosa not pleased whatsoever, specifically with their presence and their consistency on the ball, nor the movement off of it. He felt it was much too direct in the first half, and they're going to have to see Jorge Hernandez get much more involved.
And the difference being that you could argue, it was very direct for Phoenix at times. They have the speed to be able to do that. It's a very different conversation for San Antonio, whose success resides on them being on the ball, all of the rotation that we talked about. Again, the moments have been there. You know, Agudelo right now comes down into the pocket, quick play off of each other, look at the space on the far side, and instead it's 2 touches, it's 5 touches, it's 6 passes, when all you need to do is hit the 1 5-yard ball that releases Madronda, and quickly you make your way out there.
Soto. Dronda, Hawkinson wants it. Agudelo is holding his face. He got hit a moment ago. Play continues. Knocked inside. Hernandez. That deflects and header back to Henry. And Agudelo is going down. He is still really struggling. Agudelo being attended to, former U.S. international in this scoreless affair in San Antonio. Agudelo is back up, 28 games a year ago, 8 goals, 4 assists. Let's see if we can get a look at what happened here to Agudelo.
It's just inadvertent contact by Novo Okello coming back across, both bodies turning and coming off of each other. Certainly it's going to hurt. But the way that it's taken, there's no malintent, not a foul. You up for a session in the drum line?
I have no rhythm. I thought you knew that.
Rhythm did get you.
Here's Montgomery.
More of a cowbell guy.
I don't know I should be trusted with that either, to be fair. Scoreless in San Antonio. SAFC looking to make it 5 straight wins to begin the year with their new manager, Carlos Llamosa. Phoenix has certainly hung in there. Number of injuries, 2 players suspended due to red cards. Rolls all the way back to Henry. Rivera curling his run in. Sanchez into the air. That catches the wind. Rivera. Trio of options percolating. Drives by, pulls back. Cabral, appeal for a handball. Referee says yes. Penalty. And Phoenix will go to the spot with a chance to grab the lead. They're looking for their first lead of the season.
This is all about the ball into the corner there. Perfect timing by Damian Rivera. Most of their ability to unlock the space going forward has been when he's on the near touchline. Just too soft. Osorio doesn't get enough on the attacker himself, which allows that ball to come square back across. It's perfect by Remy Cabral, exactly where he needs to be. And just as the arm was on the other side, Jimmy Madronda, it's extended away from the torso. We saw it from Neville. It's certainly the correct decision. Sanchez only started 3 games a year ago.
has been magnificent this season. Only beaten by a bike in Oakland in front of 26,000 at the Coliseum. And a pair of goals in less than 10 minutes in Lexington last weekend. Remy Cabral, the leading scorer a season ago for Phoenix. Through heartbreak, chose to come back to Rising this year after being loaned in a season ago. Signed on the dotted line and excited about what lies in store in 2025. 2 goals in his first 4 games. Cabral for Phoenix. Cabral scores! And Phoenix Rising have their first lead of the season. 3 goals in 5 games for Remy Cabral, and Rising lead on the road.
Remy Cabral scored 19 goals 2 seasons ago. Won the Golden Boot in MLS Next Pro last year, just 7 to his name. Really just no rhythm whatsoever. And the most important thing, understanding that yes, he does hit the back of the net here, but it's actually the movement prior that causes the penalty off the handball Madronda that gives him this chance. He's been hot to start this season. Much better in terms of his overall shape of his runs to unlock chances. That gives him one from 12 yards out. They've been the better start, they've been the better team, and now the first lead of the year.
And the 2023 champion are ahead. LaCava making a run, tucking in off the right side. LaCava's there, keeper's out, turning. LaCava's down, that's a penalty. Goodness gracious, from one end to the other. And LaCava wins a spot kick for San Antonio. There is no VAR, so like the handball on one end, this too cannot be reassessed. And LaCava will be attended to by the athletic trainer as San Antonio pleads their case for more than just a pen.
They've gone really direct here with as high of a line as there was. Sanchez decides to go route 1 up over the top. The angle, once again, gets them into trouble. And there's so much aggression that you get from the outside backs for both of these teams, to be fair. But Cuello, this is about his positioning and exactly where he's got his body. He's too far to the outside. He starts to constrict himself at the end of it. That allows Jake LaCava to get a great angle on this ball. Actually doesn't time it very well. The touch gets away from him. Goalkeeper has been aggressive all afternoon long, Tristan Henry. A bit fortunate the way that it bounces up, almost causes Tristan Henry to feel like he can get a touch on it. Fortunately, that contact comes on Jake LaCava overall, and real quick, this game has opened up.
Henry is booked. In for Patrick Rakowski a week ago. They felt like they needed a shift in goal. LaCava hobbles off. Henry 5 saves in a 3-1 defeat in Seaside, California against Monterey Bay. Jorge Hernandez to the spot for San Antonio. Golden playmaker in the league just 2 short years ago. What's the new manager asking? That I get on the ball as much as I can, that I play make. There are a few better in the championship in that vein. Hernandez against Henry. Hernandez equalizes! which way. Game on in San Antonio. It's 1-1.
One of the biggest takeaways for this San Antonio team coming out of that Lexington win was their resolve and the character they discovered. 2 early goals, took them 7 minutes to get back into that match. Nearly half of that deficit, 4 minutes goes by for the response from the home squad. He may not have liked how direct they were, how often they hit the release button for the long ball. But it's what opens up the chance from 12 yards out for them to get back into this game and back to square one.
I've aged 100 years in the last 5 minutes. What now, right? You came out of halftime, Phoenix felt like they had the better of the chances. San Antonio, they haven't really been unnerved by anybody to this point in the year. Well, now they've each got a goal in quick succession. Speaking of, ball lobbed over the top. LaCava is back into the game, and Henry this time times it more readily. Rivera, Cabral, foul from Cronulla. Let's go down to Marion Crowder on the sideline. Marion.
Well, guys, after the Phoenix Rising penalty kick, the coaching staff met with individual players, and specifically goalkeeper coach Corey Robinson looked down to Tristan Henry, pointing to his head, signaling, be smart these next 5 minutes. Next play later, clean out Jake LaCava. We've got an even ball game.
Ball over for Hawkinson, glides by, pulls back on Smith. Options galore, LaCava. First touch got away, Hernandez couldn't stream to it. Rivera sprinting into a huge pocket of space. Sacco. Margarita. Margarita! Oh, wow! What a goal for Phoenix! An avalanche in San Antonio, and Rising lead 2-1. Penalties both ways in the last 10 minutes, and now we're in Margaritaville.
And we keep talking about the aggression from both of these teams on the outside. Rivera, arguably the most dangerous player for Phoenix Rising, as he sprays this out. It's actually a bad decision. They wanted to release that early as Margarita dropped down underneath, and instead comes back to the outside. Sacco made himself available. He has to reset coming. You've got support on the weak side as Osorio tracks back over. And just for you to allow that much of a separation in the moment, you cannot. All they've wanted since he's come in, all they've talked about was his ability to exploit in one-on-one situations, quantified to a T in the 68th minute.
Rivera coming out, and Dark Formella coming in off the bench. Concludes Rivera's 4th start of the season, and Formella is 150th championship appearance across Sacramento, Oakland, and now Phoenix. Foul from Cabral.
I gotta tell you, Mike, you know, we were just trying to get into exactly what this was going to look like. My biggest takeaway from both managers, to be fair, in our sit down before this match, was character.
Yeah.
Right, it was character. It was San Antonio FC, who had basically been in cruise control in their first 3 matches, stunned, going down 2-0 in 15 minutes of play against Lexington. The response 7 minutes later, and then again, and then to get the game winner at the end of the match, to have the resolve to stay within the game, even though it didn't go their way. Same conversation, though Phoenix Rising has not been able to get a win this season. The 2 draws that they've been able to pull back from, mistakes on their own accord, but the understanding that if they trust the process that has been put in front of them in this young season, this young lineup, this young head coach, that they could be able to find results. Gone up quickly, let the opponent get back to even. And now out in front once again.
Trio of substitutes with Phoenix ahead, 2-1. San Antonio shuffling the deck.
Entering the match for SA, number 32, Andres Paredes.
San Antonio making 3 substitutes after conceding for the second time in a 10-minute span. Down goes Hernandez.
Also entering the match for SA.
Notably among the inclusions, Grave in for Agudelo, but Andres Paredes is a player that they are raving about who makes his debut.
And also entering the match for SA, number 4, Nelson Forrest.
Hernandez hits the big switch, rounding touch, off the mark. Well, Dev, if you're Phoenix, can you close Pandora's box now? You're up 2-1 on the road, but I don't know if you're able to pull the tempo back into something a little more favorable.
I'm really interested to see how much aggression we're going to get from Jimmy Medrán in the midfield. Funny, when you and I were looking at the team sheets, I said, watch this. You know, that gives you some versatility with Medrán starting on the back line. You want to make a game change and bump him up into the midfield. That's exactly what Llamosa has done here. Expect him to be more active. They've struggled a little bit on that secondary pivot, getting up underneath Hernandez to unlock space. Certainly, he can hit a cannon from distance. More so in these moments, we talk about character. What a personality, right? He's bright-spirited. He's got good humor to him, and in times of need, not necessarily desperation right now, but the idea that you need that spark to get going. He can provide it.
Medrán, 2-time MLS Cup champ, 2-time Open Cup champ, 1 Champions League in CONCACAF as well at Seattle. Formela putting it outside. Ball wound across. Crognali dealt with that with ease. Spinning into space, Paredes. This is his first real interaction in the championship, and he is going at Smith. Paredes stabs it back. Did that touch anything en route? No. Let's go back to the most recent goal.
You certainly have to give credit to Margarita on the far side. Sacco does a really good job of playing it out. Again, he wrong touches himself, but a good job recognizing that he had drawn Lexi Suahi with him as a defender. He overcommits a bit, which leaves that space available on the outside. And that first touch, when he cuts it back across his body, enables him the opportunity to get a strike off on the near post.
Lifted through Cabral. Cabral off the post. Lifted long for Grave and pushed back by Cuejo. Perfection in jeopardy. San Antonio had won their first 4. Phoenix is giving them all they can handle.
A friendly reminder, on loan from the Rapids last year, 7 goals and 22 appearances, already got 3, and nearly lights the scoreboard again. How good is that? I mean, to understand the way that it drops across his body, Mike, to plant your right foot, have enough power to drive through it. He catches it really true, ball barely moving. Just game of inches at that point.
Cabral coming to the U.S. alongside his twin brother Kevin, as Skiers is down for Phoenix. Cabral in the 61st minute at the spot began the scoring. Margarita, the most recent. Cabral nearly did it again. We spoke to him a couple days ago about coming to the U.S. from France. He said, look, a new country by yourself is hard, but having his twin brother with him was everything. He said he impacts his game a lot, not the least of which, he said if I don't play good, he's the first one to tell me. And as a twin, I understand exactly what he means by that. But last year he dealt with the loss of his father, was away from the team for a stint, spoke about how difficult that was, but all the support he got from the club in weathering that storm. Dealt with an injury along the way last year as well, but it sounds like he could not be more pleased with the general form and mental space he's in right now. Scarce is up. Let's take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule. You can see Cabral and Phoenix again against Detroit. It's the late game of a doubleheader on the CBS Sports Golazo network on Saturday night. And then Birmingham and El Paso start our season on CBS Sports Network, 5 Eastern on Sunday. Change coming as Cabral and Rising ahead 2-1. Aviyevu coming in off the bench. Player who was at North Texas under the management of Pamadou Ka previously last year in Los Angeles. 22-year-old Ghanaian comes into midfield. And Mo Traore coming in as well. His first time off the bench this season.
I'd be mindful on the back line. There's a couple of moving pieces here. Solid shift by Harvey Nevelens with Colin Smith pushing out. More notable is down underneath. A little surprised that they've slid Braxton Montgomery over and not let him stay at that left center back position. So he's going to come just underneath that left-sided shoulder of Colin Smith. Fresh legs, no Traore in. More importantly, ground coverage that you'll get in front with Aviyevu joining the mix in the midfield three.
San Antonio pile forward. Here is Jake LaCava. Overtaken by Margarita. And a free kick to Phoenix. Tomorrow, noon Eastern, you can join CBS Sports Network on the range as the best in golf get ready for the 2025 Masters. Pimento sandwich, I feel like you'd be a fan. I keep seeing, what do you want on the menu from Augusta? Where prices are reasonable these days still. Remarkable.
Well, they package the azalea mix that you can now get to order to your door.
Really? Chance from distance will not bother Sanchez in the least. It's always a good day to be a patron at Augusta National.
Beautiful.
Madronda, that drops in brilliantly. Trying to turn the corner, stabbing the brakes on Montgomery. Cross was dealt with by Traore. Is this the breakthrough for Phoenix under their new manager, Pamadou Ka? Scraped into the playoffs last year. Driving into the area through the legs of Smith. The line rises again as if lungs exhaling. And a tug at the halfway line from Blanco came in for San Antonio, and he's been booked.
Now, Mike, we talked yesterday about how the near impossible was not frequently finished off by most of the opponents for San Antonio FC because of how good they were on their recovery defending. And I looked at you and everybody thought coming into this match, oh, Phoenix is injured. Phoenix is going to struggle. San Antonio's perfect. And I looked right at you and said, I'll tell you what, with the way that they like to concede space on the outside, if their wingers can remain high, just stay constant to the idea that they're going to find that space in transition, that's where they're going to find success. And they've been very true in that area. The problem is with new legs, you've got to make sure you've got your own recovery defending spots like this.
Grave, the New Zealand international. Karam's off of Cuejo. And San Antonio, without the former Defender of the Year, Mitchell Tainer, came back on a multi-year deal over the offseason. LaCava out of the shadows, back heel return. Hernandez driving through, ball swept aside, struck with venom, up and out. Soto.
I like it though. And you know where this starts? It starts because Madronda came high on this near touchline to win this battle, about 5 yards off, just down in front of us as he picked up the passage. Good little interchange. Just look how clean the decision making is. We said in the first half what plagued them. Certainly they weren't efficient enough on the ball, meaning they were turning it over unnecessarily too many times, but also, Mike, taking 5 touches when it could have been 3, 4 passes when it needed to be 2. Last 10 minutes, much better from San Antonio FC.
So Margarita is up here in San Antonio on this early April day, month 2 of our 9-month season. See the championship on CBS again in July when they open the new stadium up in Pawtucket against Hartford. And of course, Devin, USL Division One is the talk of the town. Set to debut in 2028. You've had an extended chat with USL President Paul McDonough about the plans for promotion relegation in Division One. What were your takeaways from that?
2 big ones for me. Number one is timeline. Certainly what that's going to look like. 27 targeted for Division One, 28 for Pro Rel, but that's going to be a sliding scale based upon what prospective owners are going to come in. That's another one for me. You'll have the opportunity within any level right now, League One or Championship, to apply, and through that application process will be current owners, but also new that they're going to have to vet to bring them in. So what do those groups look like? And also, Mike, the fact that at least right now they're committing to not going to the European calendar. So 2 big ones, but the third one is, okay, not aligning with the World's game in terms of scheduling. Would also say that that also opens up a lot more opportunity throughout the summer. Real quick, USL become its own standalone league during the summertime from a footballing standpoint.
Remy Cabral is coming off. The crowd really loves Remy Cabral. Here's the goal he scored that lit the fuse today.
And not from the run of play, but it doesn't matter. Now 3 goals in 5 matches for Remy Cabral. You ask him about where the success he had in 2023 starts to spill over into this Phoenix Rising roster. His reference came to the coach call directly from Pa Modou Khan, just said, I need the belief, I need the trust. He's had that. Got the party going, and now they are in the driver's seat with just under 10 minutes left.
Amadou Ka making his expectation crystal clear. Darius Johnson came on for the aforementioned Cabral. Second appearance for him, the Grenada International. Had a number of players that just got back last week from international duty. Formela, the goal for Phoenix would probably feel like a dagger. Phoenix came from 3 goals down against El Paso to get a point earlier in the year. San Antonio from 2 goals down last weekend against Lexington to take all 3 points. So no lead is safe. Although I don't think I need to say that in San Antonio right now. I think that's abundantly clear. Grant, Raft, and the Bird were excellent here in San Antonio, and look forward to hearing their work. Again, the Final Four concludes here in San Antonio tomorrow. Whistle goes, Sacco offside. Did about $1 million worth of work here. New video board, refreshed locker rooms, brand new surface. San Antonio FC in its 10th season of existence. this overcooked. Phoenix finalists 18, 20, 23. Lost to Louisville in 2018. That was Didier Drogba's final pro game. 2020, a final that definitely did not happen, although Devin insists did in Tampa. Then 2023, the long-awaited title against Charleston in penalties. From the 6th seed, 4 wins on the road. But last year, just 4 wins on the road all season in the championship. Trying to get a big one here today.
It's really good cat and mouse on the outside right now. Jordan Margarita in front of us against Osorio. Hasn't allowed him to push up high. Give support to LaCava when he starts to invert a little bit. Something on the left.
Paredes leading Hernandez. Avievu forced him away. Cross is deflected out for a corner.
But notice the best chances have come when they've been aggressive on the outside. That's a good movement. Osorio had just come high too. You have to be willing to commit here. They're not winning the one-on-one battles when you start to move up to the winger, to LaCava and Paredes, so you have to provide the support.
Phoenix undone by set pieces a week ago. Ball knocked across, header back, stabbed down and aimed high. Deflected, corner. Margarita intervened first.
Jimmy Madronda again, well read. Just picks the pocket. So good at recognizing when exactly he needs to step in. You know, a bit unfortunate. Glory in the upper corner written all over it.
Margarita the go-ahead in the 68th from a very acute angle. San Antonio get the cross through now. Header straight to Blanco. Crafts a ball, back post, touched by Henry. That was going to get out on its own. That is potentially a big self-inflicted wound, another corner. Double sub coming for San Antonio, including Diogo Pacheco. Was in Tulsa last year. Pacheco overcoming thyroid cancer. He found out right as he arrived at Akron. The tests he had taken in his native Portugal showed an issue. 20 days later, he had already gone back, had surgery, and scored a brace against Canisius College. Pacheco now 5 years on from that. Corner for San Antonio yet again. First ball's away. Driven across. Grave. Crinali forward. Slaloming ahead. That is a hopeful foul from Avievu.
Just a bit too aggressive as well. That's a young mistake where he doesn't need to dive in. Good coverage with Cuejo in behind. The recovery was there for Phoenix defensively. If you're Jimmy Madronda, I mean, this is Christmas dinner written all over it. The amount of pace that he can hit from this angle. Difficult for the goalkeeper because he's gone with just 3 on the wall. Madronda can put a ton of action on this to come in on the near post, but the amount of power that he can generate off that wicked wand of a left foot.
There he is, Madronda, right at Henry. There is a lot of traffic, but Henry's got it. Hey, show off your team pride in style with official merch from shopusl.com. Check out brand new tees, hoodies, novelty items, and more of your favorite USL team at shopusl.com by scanning the QR code now. we had just 1 minute of stoppage time in the first half, which felt light. I have a distinct feeling that we're going to make up for it here in the second.
Well, certainly unfamiliar territory for San Antonio, trying to track back late in the match. What they've done tactically is not out of the norm. They normally drop into a deep five. They'll flatten out the midfield to batten down the hatches and see out a lead. They're going to be more aggressive here as they've pushed up Diego Pacheco onto the field. You get a makeshift center back and Soto on the back line. Then I'll see Kernali roll out the right. They want to try and exploit the width to push numbers on the secondary runs, Mike. That's a good look at it, coming back through the box. It's not the best of deliveries, but the idea here is quickly spread wide. You make Phoenix commit out, and then you run 2-3 runners down underneath to try and create that mismatch inside the 18.
And Tristan Henry will take his time. From Herkimer Junior College to UConn to Quinnipiac, the Scarborough, Ontario native, landed at Forge. Four-time Canadian champion in Memphis last year, signed at the beginning of January, his second start for Phoenix. Conceded the penalty that pulled San Antonio level in the 65th after Cabral had put Phoenix ahead in the 61st, only to see the Margarita tight angle finish in the 68th. For the moment, stand is the difference. Quick toss in by Nicky Hernandez. Madronda plays outside. LaCava calling for it on the other end. Make that Nicky Hernandez. Pulling up the end line, Paredes turned away. On the overlap, ball sliced across, Pacheco! Diving down and pinned at the line by Henry.
It's not often you see someone get the best of Mo Traore. Watch Pacheco just drifting in behind. Good old-fashioned shoulder to shoulder. Well, one good patience on the outside, and as he lifts this back up, you're just trying to give one of your teammates an opportunity to track down underneath.
Grave through, they pull it back. No advantage. And while the ball hit the net and the crowd is going crazy, Greg Dobka is suggesting that there was a hit to the head, that's why he stopped play. So Madronda went down, and the referee pulled it back and did not allow the Grave ball through to Hernandez. Wow. Given head injury, ball knocked ahead, knocked down, Pacheco after it, driven away. Phoenix has played some serious draws this year, 4-4, 2-2, trying to avoid that fate again. But Devin, given that the referee says potential head injury, do you agree with stopping play?
Yes,
or do you...
and you recognize the frustration in the moment for sure. While we are privy to a replay, and certainly the angle that we have, you could see that the contact wasn't there. But you have to be oh so careful, and he thought it was head-to-head, which is why he blows the whistle. It's the right decision at the time.
We're not even halfway through, 9 added minutes. Cuejo used to be a hero in these parts. Margarita back. Vievu. Margarita, now Sacco. Offside.
I can tell you this much, if Phoenix is able to escape it, it's certainly because of the voice that is the guiding light on the sideline of Pa Moduka. They're having real trouble right now. From a leadership standpoint, not enough communication. There's mismatches on the field. They're not picking them up, and Pa Moduka outside the technical area is giving them all the direction in the absence of their captain, Pop Marboy.
Carl Saint unavailable as well. That's your holding midfielder and your center back out for Phoenix due to red card suspension. Phoenix 2 goals in this second half, one at the spot and another in the 68th. San Antonio equalized once. Can they do it again? San Antonio pile forward again. Crognali in the absence of Mitchell Taintor wearing the captain's armband. Swerves outside from Hernandez. Pacheco returns. Hernandez went down! That is considered a flop by Hernandez. He's going to get a yellow for simulation instead of a penalty. And Abayevu, how much does he get of the player?
I got to tell you, Mike, there's contact on that view right there. You know, initially I thought it was a foul. And when the referee was so quick to decide that it was simulation, that angle doesn't show it as much. You can see him leaning into it. But the first angle that we saw looked like Hope Abayevu came in behind and clipped the right heel of Hernandez.
Well, the crowd is certainly up in arms now. Phoenix rising, leading 2-1. This is the USL Championship on CBS. The American sporting capital this weekend, home to the Final Four and to this San Antonio side, champions in 2022. Perfect to start the year against a Phoenix team that won the championship in 2023. The focal point of the conversation in the country with news about promotion, relegation, and the excitement of the new season. And it's going down to the wire here. Flailing through traffic. Ball knocked in at Henry. And he doesn't spill. Still several minutes remain. Well, the first half took a little getting used to, but this second half has been worth the price of admission.
Games opened up, players have been more aggressive. All the opportunities that we talked about in the special spots that would poke themselves out, been taken advantage of. The hosts, far from perfect in their performance, though still within striking distance. The youthful exuberance has boiled over into a lead for the first time all season for Phoenix Rising.
That's right, 4 games in, they hadn't led. It took them about 420 minutes to lead a game this season. Then they lost it 3 minutes later, only to gain it again 5 minutes after that. At least another minute. The fans serenading the referee. San Antonio's got bigger fish to fry. Hernandez dips outside. Blanco slashed into the box, comes back, floated up to Sacco. Isan Sacco. Suddenly the numbers are beneficial. Margarita making a run on the other side, and there's the ball through. Margarita is offside, and San Antonio's still alive. Crognali, the center back at 6'5", way forward. Couldn't win the first ball. Margarita goes down, recovers. The numbers are good for Phoenix. Slid ahead for Mela. Sanchez came for it. Is there any time remaining? We've gone the 9 minutes. That's it. It's full time. Falling from the ranks of perfection, San Antonio fall as Phoenix get their first win of the year. A 2-1 victory in San Antonio. A wild second half here in Texas.
Cabral and Margarita, the goal scorers for Phoenix Rising, and a long-awaited first 3 points of the year as they sprint above the playoff line in early days.
And 9 players unavailable for team selection last week. It was 6 this week. Opportunity for some, experience for others, but trust was the key word that was given to us by this Phoenix Rising organization. Trust the process, trust the chances, and in the moment for Phoenix Rising, an absolutely beautiful performance on the road to knock off perfection of San Antonio.
You can trust this, Phoenix Rising, the performance that makes you truly believe they're back. A 2-1 victory. We wrap it up next on CBS. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and the American success story of Bourbon, followed by the special An Evening with Elton John and Brandi Carlile, plus Ghosts and Watson, tonight on CBS Sunday. Here at Toyota Field in San Antonio, 2-1 the final, the winner, Phoenix Rising. The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Remy Cabral scored the first goal in this game. He stands by with Marion Crowder.
Remy, you looked one of our cameramen in the lens and said, I knew it was going to be today. What about training this particular group? Did you know the breakthrough was finally going to be here?
Yeah, we knew. We had a tough beginning of the season, but we knew our time was coming, and when today was the best occasion Sunday afternoon on a beautiful stadium against a really good team. So it would be a big statement, and I'm really happy with it. And we come back with the win.
You have personally found a rhythm, and you can tell that you are feeling it in front of goal. What do you attribute that to?
Excuse me, can you repeat, please?
You can tell that you found a rhythm, and you're definitely feeling it in front of goal. What do you attribute that to?
What I attribute to? Can you repeat the question?
What do you attribute your success in front of goal to right now?
Just hard work every day, be a good professional outside the pitch, work hard in training every day, and you see the result on the pitch.
I can tell it means a lot to you. Go have fun with your friends. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Remy. A much-deserved respite after pouring out about 100 minutes worth of effort. Phoenix, their first win of the year. Show you how it happened with full-time highlights here. And Devin, this thing really picked up in the second half, didn't it?
I think the understanding that, again, we harp on it, but there were so many moments in the first half where guys just weren't willing to be aggressive. That wasn't the case in the second half. Set pieces started to become more prominent within the game as it opened up. Players' decision-making on the defensive front got in the way. And then this one comes back over. It gets in the way for Jimmy Madronda. He does everything right here on the recovery defending. The arm's just a little bit away on the diagonal by Cabral. This was caused by Rivera. Cabral up. Grabs his third on the season in the bottom corner. Phoenix Rising grabbed their first lead, but they would not sit on it very long. Just 4 minutes later, they go route run. Jake LaCava doesn't get the touch right on the diagonal, but the contact created by Tristan Henry in goal sees Hernandez step up to the spot and equals it at 1-1. Round and round we go. The circus came to town, and Phoenix Rising's high-flying attack is what they were known for years ago. They've slowed it down this season. Ball possession, creating strength in numbers is what they're about. This is just about one-on-one capability, and the explosion outside the top of the six by Margarita. Unselfish play by Sacco allowed them to get their lead. They continue to apply the pressure. Wondered if whether or not like some of the decision-making down the stretch would get them in trouble. Well, nearly. It doubles the lead. If not for the post, the woodwork denies Cabral his second of the day. Hope lasted for San Antonio, if only for a short while.
And so Phoenix wins it 2-1. It means the first win at the helm for Pamadou Ka, their head coach with Marion.
Thanks, Mike. Pa, you and I were just talking about the resilience of this group. Describe the character of this locker room for me.
It's unbelievable, right? Yesterday, flight delayed. We didn't come in until 12 o'clock in, you know, and not only that, but also injuries that we've had. But again, the belief in this group, the work ethic of this group showed today. And, you know, we said it from the get-go, right? You got to keep working hard. You got to put today it showed. The resilience of this group is unbelievable.
The intensity and the granularity with which you and your staff coach was something that is rare at this level. Can you describe this coaching staff for me and everything that they've put in, again, going through so many things that you guys have so far this season?
I'm very proud of my coaching staff, you know, because day in, day out, we come to work, you know, with a strong belief of what we can be, but as well as the players, because ultimately it's them. It's them. And they showed up today, and they've always showed up, but today we could also see what we could become, and this is what they needed, right? On all 4 games, I don't think we get outplayed in any ways, but again, the football sometimes is not going to be pretty. You got to do whatever it takes, and today they showed that character, which we are very proud of.
You talked to me about the vision of this group, knowing that you do need to make improvements, but you can see the vision coming together. What is the ultimate goal for this team this year?
The biggest thing is to continue to improve as human beings and as players. We all know in sports that everybody want to win, right? But at the end of the day, not everybody going to be able to do so. But the progress lies within the people and the performance, because a lot of people focus on focus on wins. We focus on performance. Performance day in, day out, as a human being and as a player, and this group can achieve what they want.
What a performance today. Congratulations on the breakthrough. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
So Pamadou Ka, his first win at the helm for Phoenix Rising. And what a night for Phoenix to go on the road and end the perfect start to the campaign for San Antonio FC. And with the spotlight on the championship, the second half certainly delivered Cabral, a penalty, his third in 5 games. Hernandez equalizing just minutes later. Gerald Margarita, his first of the season, a magnificent strike to win it for Phoenix here in San Antonio. Thanks for watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. For Devin Kerr and Marion Crowder, Mike Watts saying so long from San Antonio. Gerald Margarita, a magnificent finishing blow. Phoenix, their first win of the season in San Antonio. Good night.